Okay. So let's start out with Little Miss Christian Pants. Okay. So first of all, riddle me this, Batman. Why is it that all of the Christians that come up in my comments have private pages with like no posts and 12 followers? Why is that? What is happening there? Are they on the run? Do they have warrants? Why are y'all all on burner pages? Is it the child porn? What are you doing over there? That's what I want to know. First and foremost, before we even get into the subject matter, what are y'all up to? If y'all are so happy-go-lucky for Jesus, why are you hiding on the internet? I'm so confused by that part. I have never had anybody yet with a public page come up in my comments, toting Bible verses and shit like that. Why is it always private pages? What is that about? But why? Are you on the run? Is it the warrants? What are you up to? Why can't we know who the hell you are? You know what I'm saying? If you're so damn proud of what you have to say, if you have elected yourself as a champion of this message, why are you hiding behind a private page? I'm not hiding. So you come on my public ass page with your private ass page to pretend like you so proud for the word, but not proud enough for us to see who the hell you really are? What's that? Theories? Thoughts? Why do we think that is? They don't want to get canceled. By who? How about if you minded your motherfucking business and stayed where you was at, you wouldn't get canceled? That's what I wonder too. Sometimes I'm like, is this a bot? Is this a troll? But me and Homegirl had it back and forth. So I'm like, this is a real person, I think. Right? Or like, by troll, do we just mean that like their whole purpose of being on the internet is just to like stir shit up? I think that's a reasonable explanation. Hey, Shonda. Keyboard Warriors, Jehovah's Witness Edition. Yes, because what? Please. I was going to say keep your bean pies, but I think that's the Muslims, isn't it, with the bean pies? Jesus needs to fire. Yes, listen, the PR, if I was Jesus, yo, the way everybody would be getting fired, the PR is not, it's not it. We definitely need to put somebody else in charge, right? I know, right? I do. Sometimes I want to do that. Like sometimes I pinned her comment. And the comment is on the post of me giving my altar to my niece, or my niece asking for my altar, which is my highest. Like, I don't know what viral is, but it's my version of viral. It has 35,000 likes, which is crazy. I've never had a post have that happen. So I have gotten the most Christian comments on this post. And I pinned her comment because I feel like, whatever, you make a comment, people need to see it. Now, people might be disappointed in my response because I did call her a rapist. Okay. I called her a rapist. I would love to, you know. They need that level of help. Listen, they're not trying to hear it. They're not trying to hear it. This little girl was really trying to tell me that God has nothing to do with altars. And I was getting ready to break down how many altars are in the Bible, and I was just like, I'm gonna get in the shower and go do other shit. Like, because how can you be so loud and so wrong? So loud and so wrong. The only reason why any of us are here, according to biblical text, is because Noah's altar that he set up after the great flood was so wonderful that God smelt the aroma of the burnt offerings and incense and said, "Never again will I flood the earth. I'm so impressed with your altar of gratitude and offering." God has nothing the God of the Bible has nothing to do with altars? What? So like I just I cannot. Like, I've never seen it's just so mind-boggling to me. Like, an entire group of people so willing to fight tooth and nail over something they don't even fucking read or understand. How do you even say those words out of your mouth? That God, the God of the Bible, has nothing to do with altars. How do you even say that? Like, how do you even say those words? Right. No, what church are you at? What church are you going to, sis? So listen, let me tell you why I called her a rapist, right? I called her a rapist because the one thing that the Christians love to do, when they come with these comments that nobody asked them for, after I respond, is to insist that it's all about love. It's all about love. And she's like, why the hate? I don't understand. I'm coming to you with love. I'm coming to you with love. So I said to her, let me ask you something. How would you feel if you were raped and then your rapist was like, but I love you. But I love you. I'm doing this because I love you. Because that is the equivalent to me. When you force yourself on somebody who is not consenting and not interested, you are a rapist. That's where the hate comes from. I hate rapists. And that's what you are. You're in my house, uninvited. You're a rapist. At the very least, you're a home invader. So we'll see how people respond when they read that, because I called her a rapist and I don't regret it. Yes. I was in the shower after this, like, thinking about it. You know how you be punching the air and like having arguments with people after the argument? So I was in the shower, like arguing afterwards. And I was like, literally, the only Christians I can fuck with are Christian witches and hoodoos. That's it. I cannot do your average Christian. I just cannot. I cannot. I've tried my very best to be like, all are welcome. It's all good. As long as everybody's respectful, like, we can all be here. And I've gotten to the point where it's like, no, y'all can't be here. Y'all are uninvited. You're uninvited. I rescind my invitation because I can't with you. I can't with you. If you want to have a conversation about Jesus, you want to have a conversation about the Bible, first of all, get my fucking consent. Don't force your conversation on me. I didn't ask you any of that. Did not ask you. Did not come for you. And second of all, let's actually have a fucking conversation. But when you say dumb shit like the God of the Bible has nothing to do with altars, we can't even begin to have a fucking conversation. You haven't even read the goddamn book. What are we supposed to be talking about? Shut the fuck up in the name of Jesus. Right? I was just like, I'm so confused. So she said to me, she was like, I wasn't forcing. I'm just here to spread the love of Jesus. She's like, you have a good night, sis. First of all, she was white, at least according to her anonymous burner page profile picture. Don't sis me, my Caucasian friend. Do not. Have a good night, sis. No, I'm sorry. Do not sis me. We are not sisters. No. No, you barely invited in the house. We are not sisters. So she's like, have a good day, sis. I said, and may you have the night you deserve. I said, thank you. May you have the night you deserve. But I cannot. It's only the Christian witches and the hoodoos that I can be like in the presence of as Christians, as followers of Christ, because they're the only people that I know that actually follow Christ's teachings. Because her first comment that started the conversation to begin with was, what does God have to do with witches, or what witches do? Which I don't even know where that question came out of, because I don't know what the post has to do with God. I didn't say a damn thing about God, I don't think. But I said, no, she said, what does Jesus say about witches, or something like that? And I said, Jesus said, heal the sick and give generously to the poor. And he said not to judge anybody because that's his daddy's job. And he said to teach children about prayer and the love of God. And, should I go on? But the only people that I know that actually embody the teachings of Christ in their lives are hoodoos and Christian witches. It's crazy. Yeah, Catholics definitely have maintained the most like of the pagan practices. So from that perspective, Catholics are kind of, very different. But I haven't had the opportunity to really have these conversations too much with Catholics, because Catholics mind their business. It's not the Catholics that are in the comments. It's like the evangelical Christians that are in the comments. It's a different breed of Christian. Hey, Leslyn. I think because Catholics low key know they're with the shits, so they don't be saying nothing. They see a witch on the internet giving their niece an altar, and they're like, same. The Catholics know what it is. They won't call themselves witches, but they know. They know what they're up to. Well, yeah, I mean, let's talk about the biggest one. Let's talk about the biggest one. Thank you, Leslie. This chick pissed me the fuck off. Let's talk about the biggest one. Let's talk about the Christmas tree, y'all. Let's talk about the Christmas tree. And I always forget the passage in the Bible, but God literally says that the children of David, who are like, the precursors of the Christians, are not to cut down trees and affix them in their homes and decorate them with tinsel of gold and silver, because that is a pagan tradition and not for the children of David. It literally says that in the Bible, that you are not to cut down trees, affix them in your homes, decorate them with gold and silver, because this is a pagan practice. Yet I don't know a single fucking holy rollin' Christian that doesn't have a big ass Christmas tree in their house every December. Y'all just don't even be reading this book, do you? At all. At all. But want to force it down other people's throats, but have literally like not even fucking cracked the thing open. I'm not a Christian. Why do I know that's in there? Why does it seem like non-Christians know this book better than Christians do? What in the hell is going on? read the fucking, just read it. Read it on your own. Read it without having somebody read it to you. Read it and ask your own questions and not having somebody tell you what to think about it. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. You were? Yay, I'm glad it was helpful. I love my little travel altar. Love my little travel altar. I have to get a particular type of dirt when I go to Los Angeles in April. Okay. So I gotta pack my bag. My altar's gotta have Ziplocs in it this time. Don't worry, I'll post about it. I can't tell you now, but this is gonna be fun. We're gonna do some work. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine. Because Latin Catholics, similar to African American Christians, and the way Black church and white church is so different, it's because there's that African thread that runs through. There's just that last little bit of African spirituality that didn't get eradicated. So the practices have been Europeanized and Christianized, but there's a African sensibility and an African spirituality that runs through that is not lost. So that's why um, European Christianity and African American and Latin Christianity looks different and feels different. Oh, facts. Yes. Okay. A little cake magic in the name of Jesus. I love it. Yes, I do. But yeah, anyway, we won't spend too much time on that. But maybe we'll do a whole nother live where we get into that. I would love that actually. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Maybe one of our next high tea lives. Not the next one because the next one we're talking about the dead. But after that, we can maybe talk about Christian witchcraft. We've had Reverend Valerie Love, and yes, happy birthday, Nisi. Happy birthday. Um, It's a bad witch's birthday. Ooh. We've had Reverend Valerie Love, who is like the preeminent Christian witch. She is the author of How to Be a Christian Witch and 19 other books on the topic. Prayers for Christian witches, rituals for Christian witches, books about the crystals and astrology in the Bible and all of that. So she is like an expert in this on this topic, and she's been on the Better Witch podcast twice now. She's stayed at the shop. Okay. She did a book signing at the shop. She's definitely a friend of mine and a friend of the shop at this point. And so I've learned a lot talking with her, and she's definitely a great resource. So for those of you who are Christian or are interested in how you can blend your Christian beliefs and values with magical practice, do not believe the hype. They are not opposed at all. And if you are not sure about that, Valerie Love, or aka Kaisi, is an even a much better source of information on why that is than I am. So I highly recommend you follow her. She's on Instagram as Christian Witches, and I think YouTube is Christian Witches as well. Definitely at least get her first book, How to Be a Christian Witch. I should get some copies for the shop. That'd be a great thing to keep around. Okay. Happy early birthday, Nisi. Shonda said she helped me to understand myself so much. Yes, she's dope. Super, super, super dope. Um, Check her out, okay? And I think she's really important for people of color because so many of us come from Christian homes and Christian backgrounds and think that in order to become witches, we have to reject that. And that's not true at all. And she has shown, and the community that she has of hundreds of Christian witches, the community she has grown, I think, is a beautiful testament to the fact that there are so many people who grew up with Christianity that want to continue to walk in Christ's light and with him as an example and a role model. And I think he is a beautiful role model for all of us. But also want to engage in some of the same practices that he engaged in, what would be called miracles, and that we know is just magic. They want to do that part too. So, follow her for sure. Yeah. Listen, he's a I think a very important force. And I don't know that you have to avoid invoking Christ while working with Hecate, honestly. You know what I mean? She predates him. So it's like she knows who he is. She's like, I'm his auntie. Okay. She knows who he is, you know? Right. Right. So this chick is, in the comments trying to tell me witchcraft's not about God and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, maybe not lowercase g, maybe not your deity God, but the capital G God. Absolutely. And anybody who doesn't understand the difference between a religion's deity and God of the universe, source, all, I just can't even begin. I just can't have a conversation with you. You're too small. Your mind is too small. Your outlook is too small. You look to the ends of the earth. I'm looking to the ends of the universe. And that's not to be like I'm better than you, but like I'm better than you. Sorry. Like I can't bother to bring myself to your level to try to have these asinine conversations with you. So that's why when she's rattling off this bullshit about what's in the Bible and totally inaccurate, I couldn't even bring myself to like respond with actual like biblical evidence, because what is the point? You're not going to go read it anyway. You want somebody in a robe standing at the altar, mind you, to tell you what to think. So go do that. Just do me a favor and keep that shit to your fucking self, because I lived that life. I lived the church life, honey, and I'm good. I'll never go back. No gracias. So just do your thing over there. You and your little lowercase g, do it over there. I just don't understand what the Christian compulsion to go places you're not invited or wanted is. Like the evangelicals are the pick-me-shas of the religious community. If you follow Sprinkle Sprinkle Share a Star Goddess, like they are the pick-me-shas. Like it's like nobody called for you. Nobody wants you. Go be glorious to God by yourself over there. Can't you just be wonderful on your own? You know? Right. You can only reach from the first page to the last page. And you can barely do that because all the shit in the middle you somehow skipped over. We're not the same, babe. Please do not come into the chat like we are the same. It's no. And at some point I called her a little girl. That's so she also looked like she was 20 something years old. I'm sorry, I'm about to be fucking 40. So unless you're like 30, 35, you a little girl. Don't I am your elder. Do not speak to me like we are just gonna sit down and chat. Mm-mm. Call me by my last name. We're not little friends. She's like, you don't have to belittle me. Bitch, you belittled yourself. You belittled yourself when you stepped into the room. Don't don't do that to yourself. You're ridiculous.